Hello and welcome to another episode of the Future Hospitality Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Wells, joined today by co-host Dustin Myers. We are partners at Longitude, a hospitality branding and design group. At Future Hospitality, our goal is to interview the brightest minds in the industry, gathering insights, ideas, and inspiration to share with you. If you enjoy the podcast, please be sure to leave us a review. Thank you for your support. Today, we have the pleasure of chatting with Billy Skelli-Cohen, co-founder at Àterre, a new brand which blends the warmth of a second home, the ease of a guest house, and the delight of a hotel under one roof, inviting guests to live while traveling. During the conversation, we learn more about the vision for Àterre, how Billy and Liran Wizman came up with the idea, and what the future holds for this exciting new hospitality brand. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. Billy, thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So we've been learning a little bit more about you over the last few weeks, and you're involved in a lot of really exciting things coming up in the future. And we're excited to dive into that today and learn more about that and allow you kind of some time to share about that and what that's going to look like. But before we do, I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about just yourself, your journey in hospitality and hotels, and kind of what's gotten you to where you're at today.
Sure. So I'm French. I grew up in France and moved to the US when I was a teenager. I actually started my career in retail. I worked through college and always felt like retail was a great stepping ground for hospitality. You know, you work on your feet, you interact with strangers, kind of really get that, you know, those interactions that are just so common in hotels and hospitality. I started getting involved in the hotel business a bit by accident. I joined a group that really consulted luxury hotels on kind of their marketing strategy and helped fill their meeting and events conference spaces. And after a few years, I went back to business school. Wanted to really get more on the investment side of the business. And after business school, like many people, I joined the bank. Was never a life aspiration, but a great experience to kind of work as a banker and work on a few deals. I then had the opportunity to be on the buy side, on the investment side of the business, and join a private equity group called Voyager Partners, where at the time we bought 40% of Fairmont Raffles, and we're looking after some big luxury assets in Europe. Again, a great stepping stone and experience. And, you know, for the past 10 years until this new adventure of Àterre, I led the development and was the CEO of Lore Group. I started as a team of one, and then grew to a group of about 1,200 people pre-COVID. And this was an incredible journey of joining a group where at first we were just investors, then we became developers, then we became operators and became a fully integrated hospitality group with some iconic asset like the Pulitzer in Amsterdam or Riggs in Washington, D.C. So a great experience. And now in recent months, I've joined force with Liran, my partner, for this new adventure called Àterre.
That's so cool to hear the journey and like the stepping stones throughout your career that led you to where you're at. And it's everyone's journey is so unique. And I love that you kind of, even said you kind of just stumbled into this industry and you just kind of looked for, opportunities and new things on the horizon. And it's really exciting to kind of hear that journey.
Great. Thanks.
So we're really excited about the Àterre project, and we don't know too much about that yet. From what we've seen, it looks really interesting. Would you be able to give us a little more details on what's coming?
Sure. Yeah. Àterre is really meant to bring the best of a second home, an Airbnb type product, a service department, and the little touches of a luxury or lifestyle hotel under one roof. An ideal Àterre is a building in a live, work, play city, probably above 100 rooms, below 300 rooms, communal spaces for residents, and really trying to create a space that feels incredibly residential, and allows people to in a bit of an aspirational way, to kind of take their best routine on the road. I always give that example when you go and stay at, your friend's house who had this amazing guest bedroom, and, you look at the bed and you're going to get a great night's sleep, and you already know you're going to be looking forward to exercising in the morning. And, throughout the day, there's always, good music and great little delightful moments of a snack or, a little fun game to play. And that's what we're trying to recreate in Àterre, really bringing great basics of a hotel, of hospitality, bringing a great residential feel and beautiful little touches along the way.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing experience as a guest, and someone that would be staying there. I've seen these, and I'm obviously you guys have too, over especially in like the European countries, like these apart hotels or whatever you want to call them. And those have been very popular and growing in popularity over the last, decade or two. And I haven't seen many of those until recently coming to the States. And, what do you think? You're basically, from how I understand it, you're taking like the best parts of a hotel experience, the best parts of a luxury residential experience, and kind of combining them under one roof. So is that something you're hoping to bring? I know, you're looking at New York as kind of one of the first locations for one of these properties. Is that something you're wanting to bring into the U.S.?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I moved to the U.S. with the idea that, we'd gear up hopefully a lot of our growth in the U.S. Control growth and growth that's opportunity driven. So, I think we're all living in unprecedented times and a bit of a crazy world. And, not many hotels have changed hands actually through COVID so far. But yeah, the idea is very much to aggressively try to enter the U.S. market, where we already have a site in New York, but also to, really looking at all these cities. We like 7 days a week market, right? So, what a lot of people would refer to as a live, work, play city.
Yeah, and this concept is also very scalable, right? Whether it's a single night stay or long term.
Yeah, the idea again is, we, just to give you guys a bit more background, right? For us, the Àterre came from two distinct point of views, right? One is feeling like the hotel world, even though there's great products that have been created in recent years, that overall our industry has kind of been losing its way and, throwing gimmick after gimmick and shoving experiences down people's throat and new brands and concepts that we felt were a little bit overcomplicated. On the flip side, we've also seen in recent years that operational costs in hotels have really ballooned, from labor costs to taxes to cost of goods. And in Àterre, we felt like we had this this moment in time where we feel the guest now is looking for something different. Again, something that is, finding luxury and simplicity, in really allowing people to create their own experiences and take control of their own stays, and also from an investment point of view, creating an operating model with much reduced operational costs.
Yeah, that's genius.
Well, it's genius on paper at the moment, and I'm a huge believer in the concept, and I think that's the direction that a lot of people are going to do. But hopefully, also, Liran and I's experience of putting a little magic dust and creating some moments will set the product apart.
Totally. Yeah, you just mentioned Liran, who's a part of this with you, and a lot of people are familiar with him as well, being a part of the Circle collection. And can you kind of talk a little bit more about how you guys, maybe even how you go back in time, how you guys met, and then also how it kind of, this idea came to fruition and, where it started?
Yeah, Liran and I met almost 10 years ago. We met when I was buying the Pulitzer Hotel in Amsterdam, and And funny story, actually, at the time we had the same lawyer. I kind of set us up to meet, and he thought I was nuts buying the hotel. He thought we were overpaying for it, and it's the most successful thing I've personally ever done in my career so far. So I never fall short to remind him of that. But over the years we've become good friends and always shared. We're both very open people and shared things that were very successful for us and some of the struggle that we had in growing a hotel group and new ideas to have our properties feel a bit more special. And really the first common ground was that we kept working harder and harder and making less and less money under kind of these full service kind of lifestyle luxury hotels. And we both felt that business model was a little bit broken. There'll always be a place for these beautiful boutique or iconic hotels in cities, but that as something to try to duplicate over and over again, that we felt we needed to make a shift. And well pre-COVID and not related to COVID, both of us also felt that people just want to travel differently. I don't, travel when that kind of whole lifestyle world came alive with food and beverage being introduced in hotels, all became about being, indulgent and over the top, and now you're seeing that actually when people travel and are away from home, they want a better version of their home life, right? They want to be able to exercise in a great gym and eat delicious, healthy food and have the most, beautiful bed and mattress, right? And felt that that's what was relevant and important to the way people would want to travel. And the ultimate way of doing that is really marrying, the best of hospitality and residential together.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting development within the industry, and I'm excited to see where it ends up going. I think we're ripe for some new combinations, some new ideas, and I think this concept is going to be really cool as we move into the future.
Thank you, and I totally agree with you. I think our industry is obviously going through a major crisis on the back of this global health crisis, and it's heartbreaking to see some of the difficult decisions all around our industry needs to make. But I'm very optimistic that if we can go 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, both our industry and the guests that interact with our industry will be better off, with better technology and more creativity and products that are looking forward to the way that people want to travel in the future. And, I'm excited to see what we can do in the space, but also very excited to see what other people will do that's innovative.
I'm curious to know what criteria or what were you looking for in these first locations, and what are you looking for as you look to expand?
Yeah, these first locations found us more than finding them. New York, obviously, to develop something in the U.S. was a key city for us to be in, and we were lucky to have a site there. Athens was a bit more of an accident. Actually, Liran, my partner, has a great site there that we're developing as an Àterre. But actually developing in Greece has been really great in the development and the refinement of the brand and the concept. I feel like that sudden Mediterranean hospitality mentality is very in line with Àterre. It's simple, it's imperfect, it's genuine, it's never trying too hard. It's simple and elegant in design. So we're finding a lot of inspiration with the people we're working with, and as we're developing the first mock-up room and eventually the first hotel there.
That's really cool. When you guys, I think did you guys start this last July? Is that correct, Billy?
Yeah, we kind of got started over the summer. It's obviously, we're living in a a very weird world at the moment, right? We're very close to buying a property in Europe that I haven't been able to tour. I never thought that would be possible in my lifetime. So it's but we're maneuvering through it and off to a good start.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people we've talked to, it seems like the trend for leaders in the industry are to look at moments like this last year. Obviously, it's very grim for the industry, and it's been very, like you said, heartbreaking for the industry. But even in the midst of that, I think people like yourself and others we've talked to have viewed this as a really great opportunity as well. And is that kind of the thinking that when you guys, obviously this was kind of in the midst of the pandemic last year when you guys were kind of forming this, did you view it as like have the fear of the risk in mind, or was it more of like, this is such a great opportunity, now is such a great time, or was it a mixture of the two?
Really all the decision making into creating Àterre had nothing to do with COVID. This were all things that evolved over time, and COVID might have accelerated our thinking and the thinking of people around us. We don't wish bad on anyone, but I think with an investment hat on, everybody thinks COVID is going to create opportunities with owners that are going to be in difficult situation and assets that are going to need to trade hands. That hasn't really happened to date. But again, it wasn't this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not based on what we can accomplish in the next 12 months around the pandemic. So it's in many ways not correlated to it, as far as, for me personally, I've, and I think for all of us, right, we've all kind of recalibrated during COVID and all kind of reshift a little bit our priorities, and that's the silver lining of what has been devastating around the world.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious, just from a experience point of view, are each of these new locations, are they going to feel the same when you're visiting one in Athens or New York City? Or are you trying to make each of these its own unique feeling and experience?
Yeah, I definitely think each one will be different. I think, what I'm hoping is that we capture. And sorry, let me backtrack on that for a second, right? I've always felt, it's great to have a hotel that looks beautiful, and obviously design is very important, and culture and staff is very important. But it's the mixture of that and all the little details, the lighting, the music. It's creating a certain feeling that you're hoping that guests will connect with that product a certain way. And I'm hoping the connection to be very similar. The aesthetic to accomplish that in a city like New York versus Athens will have to be different. With the fundamentals, which to me are the most important, being the same. A super comfortable bed, a great shower, adequate space to put your things away. Communal spaces that are truly designed to feel like, an aspirational apartment or villa, and really sticking to kind of the soul and ethos of the brand. But, whether the wall is gray or pink will always be a local decision. So a few years back, a brand that I won't name, was showing off their new product in Berlin, actually. And we're very proud of the fact that they were saying they had created a product that was going to feel local. And the way they had done that is putting a map of Berlin above the bed. And I sure hope with Àterre we do better than that.
That's great. When you look at the Àterre concept, is there one thing that is most exciting to you about it? or how would you describe that?
Yeah, the most exciting thing for me is we've purposely created a concept that is quite elastic. And what I mean by that is I think as far as location and shape and form of buildings, we can make this work in a lot of different environments. Again, if you go back to kind of that residential hat, right, it kind of adapting it to the real estate that we inherit. And I'm very excited to see what that brings, and as far as opportunities and challenges as we, kind of try to unlock the next few.
Yeah, that's great. You mentioned already Athens, and you mentioned New York as a couple locations that are on the horizon for Àterre. Do you have any other locations you could share that you're kind of scoping out?
Yeah, I mean, we're hopefully soon we'll announce something in a big European city that we've been working on. As actually, and that could end up being the first one we open. But more out of superstition than anything else, I won't share that city yet. And we're actively looking. For me in the U.S., a little bit selfishly, being based in Miami now, I'd love for our next opportunity, aside from New York, to be in Miami, given that it's now my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
But Miami is probably definitely the hottest market in the U.S. right now. So showing a challenging place to find the right opportunities.
Well, kind of along the name of the podcast, Future Hospitality, we always like to ask our guests towards the end, what is exciting to you about the future of travel, of hospitality, whether it's obviously you have a Àterre project you're working on that's exciting, but is there anything else, personally or professionally that you're just really excited about looking forward into the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I briefly mentioned at some point during our chat, I really think the industry is going to get a much needed shakeup, and excited to see how we are on the other side. The first thing that comes to mind is technology used across hotels, whether it's systems to manage guests or a building or reservation, are all fully archaic, and to try to rationalize those systems and to look forward in helping for technology to help manage buildings, to help manage guests, to enhance the guest experience. I think that's going to be a very exciting journey for our industry, and one where I'm finally seeing some movement. So, even though I can't speak of technology with great intelligence, I'm very excited to see what happens in the space with that. The next thing for me is the reason I fell in love with the hospitality business is it's a human business, right? Like, at the end of the day, the ability to put a smile on somebody's face while they're traveling or eating and drinking, and the ability to empower people who work so hard when they're working in hotels or anything that touches a hotel is really what I've gotten a kick out of. And again, I think I don't think for a second that that's going to go away. I think that's only going to get better and better, and looking forward to see how how that kind of the next generation reinvents that, and how human connections work in our space, which has always been, at the end of the day, the core of the business.
Yeah, like you said, I think we're at the threshold of a new era for hospitality and travel, and it's really fun to get your perspective and just see what you, Liran, and others in the industry are dreaming up and working towards. I think it's going to be really exciting.
It's tough not to feel the heavy burden that the industry is going through, but I remain very optimistic in years to come.
For anyone who wants to keep in touch with you or keep in touch on the progress of Àterre, how can people stay connected?
Àterre.com. We have some press and marketing emails for people to reach out to us. But, I always like to hear from people. Billy at Àterre.com. Hit me up anytime.
Awesome. Well, Billy, thank you so much for spending a few moments with us today. It was really cool to hear about your journey, the background, and all the exciting things that you have in store. And I can't wait to see how it all shapes up.
Guys, thanks for your time and appreciate the interview.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Future Hospitality Podcast. If you enjoyed today's topic and episode, please leave us a review. If you'd like to learn more about Longitude, you can visit longitudebranding.com to see our portfolio of design work, read our Insights blog, and learn more about our team. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Longitude Branding.